Hello everybody, it's Lindsay from the Vintage Button, and today I thought what we would do is strengthen some of the journal. So I don't know about you, when you get into a new journal, and particularly one that you've made yourself, there are little jobs that I like to do to make sure things will work as the journal goes on. So on one of them, particularly on these types of journals, and like I've said about this one and the Journal July one, is because it's just a card cover, I want to offer some sort of strengthening to it. So I've got some fabric samples doing the job on this journal. So I thought I'm going to do a combination, a fabric sample, particularly the edge. So I get these fabric samples that have this sort of paper edge on it, and it's all the information, you know, that this is cotton and, you know, or it might be silk. I've got some silk, so it kind of gives all the information and how much it would cost basically. So I've got this one which I quite like because I like the colouring, but I also like this tab situation. So I thought that would be useful on one side, and I think it is probably, because it could either be, this is where we have to trial it out. So it either could be there. No, it's the front one. Okay, so we've got that one, and then I was going to have a look at things for the back that will, oh, there it is. Is that a postcard? Can I have a look? Oh, we've got the Green Man. Let's have a look. So this back one is just about doing the same thing but in a different way. But we're going to do something similar underneath it. So we've got that. Or that. That'll be too messy. I like that one though. We've got that. Oh, we have those postcards, the creepy postcards. They're already, these ones. So this is like there's a picture gallery in a National Trust house, which is like old stately homes basically, and this is the picture gallery, and that's like one of the rooms. And it's sort of showing the past of things that have happened. I think I like that one. Oh, I've got two of those and I like that one. Okay. For our Wise Woman book, I think it was Sally who reminded me that's what I said. I think it is. I think this is what we're going to call it, is the Wise Woman book. So I'm going to have to look out for some Wise Woman sayings now. I might have to trim this down a little bit, and I think this will become a tuck spot. Could trim it down quite a bit actually. Okay, so I'm going to trim, we'll do the back one first because I think this one will be the easiest one to do. Let's just chop the children's feet off. It still gives an idea of what it is. There's some really nice tapestries in this room, and some nice, the wallpaper is amazing, and I remember the portraits were quite good. My daughter spent a lot of time using the portraits. So let's do that. Okay, now I need some more of that scarf material, because if we think about the back, how I tore it, which I really like, I enjoyed that, but it's not perfect. But we're going to see little bits of white and stuff, just because what we're going to put against that will have a straight edge, and I don't want I don't want to move it up. I actually want it to sort of be like that. So all we're going to do is stick a little bit of an edge along there, really, which means getting our fabric back out. And snipping some up. So how's your days been? It's been my first day back at work after being off work for a week and a half, and some of that was for annual leave and some of that was illness with the COVID. Yeah, so it was all right. It was okay. I'm just going to do some snipping. I had 3 clients that already booked in, so I did that, and then I had a quick look at all the other people I've got to book in. And I'm developing a bit of a plan, and my manager did say she would help me out as well. So I've also got an event I've got to go to tomorrow. I was going to do some public speaking in, but because I had the time off, I couldn't really prepare, which I'm you know, when you're not really that bothered. I was like, that's absolutely fine, somebody else is doing it, and that's absolutely fine, because I'm going to double this over. I think what I want to show here is sometimes when you see like even when I've done it, or I might have made that one with you, you sort of present something, oh, and I've already done this. It's good to know the reasoning of why have you done it that way. So I'm just going to snip that, just to have like a bit of an understanding and a bit of a reasoning. Okay. I feel quite free in this journal because it's not, because of these precise, it's not a precise thing. I think I don't like things that are formulaic. Sometimes I make things that are very ordered, and I enjoy that, but it's not my natural inclination. I am a bit of a chaos. But I like things when they're tidy. So I remember when I first met Miles, my room was like very, very tidily and ordered. But at the same time, I've had times when, you know, my environment's not tidy. This craft room is a perfect example of that. I'm just getting my marker and taking the white edge off. So yeah, I do like order, but I will happily embrace the chaos. I think it gets me down after a little bit, like we've got to sort of do a recovery on the house because we've both been out of action really, and we've still not got our energy up, so we've got to make a plan, I think, come the weekend. Make a master list and just knock the tasks off until we've got what we want. I'm going to be getting those scissors out again, I think, shortly, but oh, I don't know, might be able to manage. So that one's quite easily done. I wonder if I need to do anything. Do I need to do anything? I can always paint around it afterwards because it's not going to buckle very easily, this. I'll tell you what I think I do need to do. I don't know why, but I feel like I need to extend this up here. Perhaps not even to the top. So I think I will nip to Aldi at some point tomorrow, and I'll do that, you know, processing the little free magazine thing for Halloween bits. See what we can get out of it. There might not be anything this year. I thought I did think that yesterday. I was like, oh, I'm going to do that as a video. And then I thought, I bet I can't find anything useful. But I'm sure there will be. So I'm just making a big tuck spot with this. It's not a pocket. It's just a tuck spot. But that, particularly that glue edge there, is really helpful. And having this here helps me just sort of bring that over a little bit. And our white bits are hidden and our ripped edge is still there. That's kind of what I wanted. Right then. I don't think it's going to be it's going to be quite a fast one today. Which I can hear something beeping. I think it's the dehumidifier. We bought a new dehumidifier for up here. And I think I'm going to move, because I've got a really tiny dehumidifier in here. This is an old house, and it's an Edwardian house, so it's about 100 years old, which is not that old for this country really. Probably the majority of housing stock is about that. But they were sort of designed to breathe in a certain way, and then many houses have been rendered and painted with plastic basically, and so the houses can't breathe, and that's where you get a build-up of condensation. And unfortunately that's what's happened with this house. It's part of the character being removed, is the way they did the windows. I mean, I'm not complaining, because I don't think we'd have been able to afford to buy it if it was all perfectly characterful. But that is one of the challenges, is condensation. So we definitely battle that every year, which is okay, because the house we used to have in Cambridge was an interwar, so it's kind of built Depression era, and all the brickworks in the country had either closed or they were running at very low capacity because there wasn't much house building being done, sort of like between the First and Second World Wars. And so the house that I lived in Cambridge wasn't made out of bricks, which is really unusual for a British house, and it would have been difficult to get a mortgage on. Not that it was still like they wanted more than £500,000 for similar houses in the road, which I think is ridiculous, but there you go. That's location for you. But they were made of this cinder block that was taken from the railways in Cambridge that were fired by coprolite. Coprolite is literally fossilised dinosaur poo. So we called it the dinosaur poo house, because that's basically, it was the ashes for the dinosaur poo. I know. That sort of created the house. I don't want to cut anything with paper with those scissors. And I've just dropped those scissors. Not doing well. Here we go. We put a bit more, I think we do. We put some more up that way. The darker stuff. So yeah. So it's the dinosaur poo house. This isn't though, this is just a brick. It wasn't a very nice house, the one in Cambridge, but it was very close to lots of things. My job at the time, good schools, yeah, we basically got her into a really good school because of that house, and a good secondary school, which was most important. So yeah. it still was painful paying the rent. Giving somebody else, can I? Because it's a bit, oh, yeah, I have thoughts and opinions. Thoughts and opinions. Do I want any more on this side? What do we think? Yeah, so what kind of day have you had? I've heard like some people are safe because like there's a few people that I've not heard from recently, and I know there's been hurricanes and storms, and there's about to be another one. I'm thinking about the one in North Carolina, like Western North Carolina, which has been really difficult for people. So positive thoughts for you guys. And it's good to hear that you're all right. So there's just one person from North Carolina that I need to hear from. I might try and dig in the comments to see if I can find her contact details. You know, like do the private message thing and say, you all right? Because I haven't heard. I'm sure she will be. And like kind of commenting on her YouTube videos, the last of her priorities. But it was just nice. It was nice to hear. I think it's Rachel. And then there's the other lady. I can't remember her name. I'll have to go back and dig. Oh, yeah. Difficult times, things like that. We don't. I remember, actually it was first winter we lived in this house. There were some bad storms. So there's no real hills. I think we're in a little bit of a hilly area. But where I grew up on the edge of the Pennines, which are not, they're not quite mountains, but they're not far off. And it's sort of like a ridge of hills that goes, it sort of divides the east from the west of like the northern half of England. And I lived on the west, on the Lancashire side of the Pennines. We refer to them as the tops. Yeah, so you get used to stormy-ish weather because they just, you know, hills brings rain and stuff, but you kind of are a little bit buffeted from the wind, whereas where I am here in East Anglia, there's not a lot of hills at all. So where I currently live, there are, I think they're the Magog Hills, are not that far away, and my little town, because we're sort of on the edge of a hill, has some hills to it, but they're not really, you know. To quote my brother, when he came to see me, he says, I don't know you can stay here. He likes to fell walk and rock climb, very outdoorsy. You are when you live on the edge of mountains, basically. So I don't know why you can stand it round here. There's no to look at because there's no hills to look at. Yeah, there's beautiful big skies. We're getting really nice big skies. But it does mean that we don't get a lot of rain. It's actually classed as an arid zone. But we do get wind sometimes, and it can be quite windy. So the first winter that we were living here, I remember it was like a half-term holiday, and like Lily was like 14, so she was all right being on, you know, in the house on her own for a bit. And we were both at work in Cambridge, and we heard about this storm coming and like how ferocious the winds were going to be. And I remember ringing Miles, and I was just like, come and get me. I can't be a lot of miles away when I know this is happening near where she is, and I can't get to her. So what, you know, like, I was panicking. What happens if I can't get home? I mean, I knew she would probably be perfectly safe because our house is very sturdy. It's old and very sturdy. Now, having said that, when we came back, the house next door but one, so we're a terrace, that means all the houses are stuck together, but you have sort of ridges in between the houses where the roofs are separated. So we knew our roof was relatively new, that it'd been done in the early 2000s. So it was like 20 years old, which is nothing for a roof. And it's like heavy slate. It's one of the good things about the house. But the house next door but one has got a loft conversion, and it was sort of felted roof around it, and basically half the roof had gone. But we pulled at the back, and we could see the fire engine was at the front of the house when we sort of came down the road, and then we have like garages at the back, so we had to turn in. So we knew something had happened, and we just saw this roof was missing. When we went into the house, she was none the wiser. She was sat with her earphones on watching something. She was absolutely fine. Just me being a worrywart. So yeah, we don't really get extreme weather, other than a bit of wind. But then that makes a lot of electricity. It all comes off the North Sea, because there's no... It's either at sea level or just a little bit above sea level, right from the coast into Cambridge, and Cambridge is like quite a lot inland. It's just really flat. Oh, there we go. Lots of chatter from me. So this pocket will just be useful for, like, we can put any bits in. So if there are bits that I think are specific to this journal, and you know, it could be a bit of journaling for myself or whatever. I could put a tag in there. I would do it generally at the beginning of a journal, and I would shove some ephemera that I want to use, or if I've got any plans. So like in the next couple of weeks, if I decide, oh, I want to use one of, say, not that one because it's a bit too big. What have we got here? Yeah, say I want to use one of these pocket, you know, I want to use one of those, but I'm not sure when I want to get to it, but I know I want to do it, then I will put that in there, and that'll remind me, oh, I want to use that for something. But we can do that, because I do want to use that for something. So it could be that, but what it overall, it's just massively strengthened that cover without adding a lot of bulk, really. It feels a lot sturdier as a book. You know, you can't, you know, not easily rip it now. You could from the top, obviously, but not from the bottom. And I quite like that you can still see that torn edge, because that was something that I liked about it. Again on that side. So yeah, just a little bit every day, a little bit, it'll build up. I'm liking the dark moodiness of it. I'm liking that there's some pages that are black, and then we've got this craft paper colour. It's going to make for some interesting things. See this? I can have a little fiddle and then I'm going to go. Just wondering if we can open this up. Oh no, I think it's too well glued down. Oh, that's a shame. That's a real shame. I mean, it's a very well made bag. I remember they were quite expensive. Oh well, we'll do something else. Just use the fold somehow. It's just interesting. So yeah, so that's the page from yesterday. I don't know whether, do we do? I don't know. I'll keep that, because that's part of that fabric. I'm glad I found something that's the same colour or similar colours. I have a journal that I've made from this. That might be, shall I do that as the next one? It's a Flower Fairies journal, and it's a very different style, but the cover is made out of that fabric. We might do that on Monday, actually. That would be a nice journal to do. I was also thinking about a post I saw on Facebook today about somebody made a journal and found it really difficult to give to somebody else. And I know there's a bit of a culture of making journals and then swapping them, and that's kind of what, you know, some junk journalers, that's how they do it. And I just thought that that's not at all my experience, because that's not how I've practiced. So I kind of make my journals for me, because they're very much an expression of where I'm at that time. So I keep them. There has been times I've made journals and given them away or swapped them. There has been times I've given journals, like my mum asked for one, so I've made her a journal. And I would probably make her, I've got ideas about making another type of journal, like a memory book of the town that I grew up in, because there's ways I can get photographs that would probably have a little bit of meaning for her and add that to it, sort of make it like a reminiscence thing. That'll take a lot of time, but that might be a nice project for us to do, really. Yeah, so, you know, like journals can mean so many things for so many people. So for some people, they are like a creative record of their life. And even though, like in this journal, I did some writing, and I think last November's journal I did some writing. I think I did some writing in the yellow one that I did before that. So it does have, you know, like it has journaling, writing in it. But then there can be other books that don't have any writing in it. You know, like this has no writing in it. But I still think it's still a record of this moment in time. It's got swaps in it and just the way my style is developing. So I don't know. How do you use your journals? If you've not made a journal, what's your intention? I think it might be how you're introduced to it as well. Because I watched Jenny Belly for years. She's on YouTube. I mean, she's been on YouTube for years. And I watched her make these smash books. I remember, like, watching her making these smash books. I don't know, I feel like I'd only just got married or something. Like, a long, long time ago. It can't be because I've been married 20 years. So, but watching her do these things and thinking, I want to do that, but didn't quite know how or what it was going to be. And everybody else is doing scrapbooking, which was very perfect, and about placing photographs. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want it to be messy and creative and fun. And so I think it's about your intention, isn't it? That how you've been introduced to it and how you approach it. Because she uses her journal as a journal, you know, like it's an art expression. It helps her in her artistic practice. And I'm not a professional artist, but I am creative and I am artsy, and I do feel the need to have that in my life. So that's why I've implemented that in my life. I think somebody else who does art journaling really well, and is very painterly and is an artist, so she would be, is The Unexpected Gypsy, and she's very mental health orientated as well. She's somebody to look out for. If you want to hear something a little bit different about junk journaling, because I think sometimes you kind of get, and I think the algorithm does this as well, so you sort of end up in an echo chamber of how things are. There's loads of amazing, I mean, I don't think I've seen a bad content creator, but everybody's got a slightly different twist on it, and it's about sort of, this is the way I see it for myself, is resourcing myself with watching material and content that actually feeds into what I'm practicing, rather than sort of making me feel bad that I don't do this a certain way or buy these products or, you know, have it look a certain way. When really what I want and what I want to do for others is to encourage people to find their own style, really. So yeah, welcome to my TED Talk. I've done the past week lying in bed thinking about junk journals and slow stitching and being frustrated that I didn't have the capacity to do it. But and just that little it was looking at Facebook this morning when I was having my breakfast. I don't really look at Facebook. I think it's just it came through as a notification. Why did I look at it? And I've just been musing on it all day. Like, well, why do I do junk journals? So yeah, what is your why? What is your why? What is my why? I'm kind of getting to grips with my why, that I want to be artistic in a sustainable way. I don't want to, that's why I talk about not using single-use items, using as much stuff that already exists as possible, you know. So and the printables are my single-use item kind of get out of jail card, I think, rather than buying stickers. I bought myself a printer and I print stuff off, and I had to save for that printer and use money that came, you know, it just wasn't, oh, I'm going to do that instead. You know, there was a certain element of intentionality about it, and just collecting the books. And yeah, so I'm developing my why. What's your why? It can be just as simple as I find it's fun. it takes me out of my head. You know, it doesn't have to be this grand lofty idea, but it's good to have an understanding about yourself, I think. So I don't know if that's my working life sort of overspilling as well, but there we go. It's good for our well-being. So here we are. We have this. I don't know what we're going to do for the first page. I'm not going to do any more. I don't know what my thumbnail's going to be like because none of these two are very exciting. Whereas like that one was quite nice, made for quite a nice thumbnail because that's a really nice page. This, I'm really happy with this, that I feel like I've made something that looks like what I do, but it's also reminiscent of what other people do. And I think that's what I mean about like finding your own, having the contact, having the confidence to find your own way of doing it within your own limitations of your ability and your resources. You know, finding a way. So yeah. So I'm gonna let you go. Got to think about what I can do for a thumbnail. And I will see you tomorrow, where hopefully we'll be chopping up an Aldi magazine and harvesting it for some ephemera to go with my little stash of stuffs. I don't know what I'm going to talk. Crafty chat. Reinforcing your journal. Let's see what I come up with. I've also got chicken in the oven that I need to go and make some rice to go with it. I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget about the giveaway to get an advent calendar full of vintage button goodness, slow stitching, junk journaling. If you've lasted this long and you're not subscribed, please subscribe, like, comment, and you get entered into the giveaway. As many comments you make from now on until I do the announcement, which will like be the 1st of November or something like that, is your chance to win the journal, because as many comments you make, that's as many entry tickets you get given. Miles is doing something with Excel. It'll be amazing. All right then, lovelies, I definitely am going. I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.